Yeah, yo, sometimes you gotta go to war for what you believe in. Sometimes you gotta go to war for what it is that you want, what you see that's right. I'm about to go to war, but lyrically. War cry, baby. Yeah. Hey yo, war cries echoes in the background. That's the sound of soldiers getting ripped up and tore down. Lyrically dismantle metaphors and manhandle. Marauder with Welcome back to another edition of Impose My Will podcast. I am your host, your brother Ramon. With me, my other host, my brother Joe. Joe, what's cracking? How you feeling, man?
It's been a whole lot of rain, but we good, bro. How you?
Good, man. I'm tired of that rain too, man. I feel like it's been a couple weeks worth of rain. Like, come on, man. Like, it's late May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Nonstop. Late May. It's cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. So,
Mm-hmm.
but besides that, man, just just pushing along, man. So today's episode, we want to chop it up a little bit about the upcoming bout against Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin de Los Santos, coming up on my birthday, June 7th. June 7th seems to be it's a lot going on June 7th, man. I done been invited to multiple baby showers and parties, and everybody picked June 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's pretty nice around June 7th, but I was looking at the forecast, and I think it might hit 70 or something. Like, it ain't, the weather is playing games with us, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely something to look forward to. A nice little gift, you know what I'm saying, for the boxing fan, for myself and all the boxing fans. This one's gonna be a good one, man. It's been some contention between those two. As you know, it's been some back and forth. It's been, some talks of this, talks of that,
Yeah.
kind of, I would say, bad blood. Not too crazy, but there is some bad blood, which is going to fuel this fight even more.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, Joe, really quickly kind of just go back a little bit, because I think it's kind of telling on their last fight or two, both Shakur and I'm sorry, I said Shakur, Keyshawn and Edwin, to kind of give us, I would say, gauge it a little bit. I know how you perform, one time versus the next time is not necessarily the same, but we can always learn something by going back and looking at previous fights of theirs. I want to go back real quick with De Los Santos. His last fight was actually Shakur.
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson, and if you remember that fight,
That was
in my opinion, wasn't a great fight on either end.
Mm-hmm.
But he did bank. He banked. Um, what did he bank? He banked like 4 rounds. I'm sorry, he banked 4 rounds on two judges cards, and he banked 5 rounds on another judge's card, which is pretty significant. You're talking about a 7-5 round fight, right? So that is pretty significant, even though it was kind of a dull fight, which we've been getting from Shakur and other guys lately. It still kind of says a lot, though, that he did bank some rounds versus a guy who does not really lose a lot of rounds in his whole career, for the most part, right? Two weight class champion, hasn't lost a lot of rounds, but De La Santo got some rounds. Give me some thoughts on that, and then we'll move over to Keyshawn and then move forward.
Moving forward, I think with this fight here, it's a good test for Keyshawn. Actually, it's a great test for Keyshawn. But at the same time, too, it's been a very long time since we actually seen De La Santo in the ring. Because I want to say that Shakur fight was what, 2023?
2023.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was
so he's going to be coming in
November 2023.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be coming into the ring with some rust. I'm sure he's probably been, active in the gym, but it's different from actively fighting.
Sure.
And then you got to think too. Keyshawn has really been pushing the envelope with his past couple of fights, where he's working. You know what I mean? But I think this fight is going to be exciting to watch. But at the same time, too, I think you might see a cleanup coming from Keyshawn Davis. And I think with this fight, we may end up seeing a late round stoppage, or he's just going to clean him up on the cards. This is honestly what I think is going to happen. It's just with the time Dos Santos kind of been out, is going to show some sharpness, and I think he's going to show some weaknesses and some, like I said, give Keyshawn the test that he's going to need to have. But I think we may end up seeing something different versus what we expect being the names of Edwin De Los Santos and Keyshawn Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you went right into it. So you went right into the prediction. I was asking you to just kind of no, this all good. We there now. Let's get to it. So I already know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? You said something that to me was significant, and it was sharpness, right? With Keyshawn is just sharp, man. He come from that school of boxing under Bo Mag. He in the gym with guys like like Bud and Shakur and and dudes and other guys passing through. And one of the things that has been pretty universal on those stable of fighters is just the sharpness, man. I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was the Pedraza fight last February that Keyshawn was in, where he just really showed how sharp he was. He got out of the way of a lot of big big shots, man. Just a lot of movement. Really showed how sharp he really could be. And how and just how to let your hands go in combinations and stuff, man. I'm really, like I told you last time, I'm really becoming just a bigger and bigger fan of Keyshawn. But that Pedraza fight kind of pushed me over the edge with him. I thought it was amazing. If I remember correctly, it might be a different fight. If I remember correctly, I got to go back.
He showed a lot with that Pedraza fight. And to be honest with you, I think this may be a similar type of fight.
Right. Yeah. De Los Santos is kind of built like Pedraza. He is, in my opinion, I don't think De Los Santos is that fast or that quick of a fighter, but he got pop.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It very well could be a similar kind of outing for him. I think it's going to be. So here's the thing. I think De Los Santos has more to prove. So I think he's going to come in and probably try to be a bit aggressive, impose as well as as the name of the podcast suggests, and really try to command the ring. But Keyshawn got them skills that pay the bills, man, and I think he's just going to be too much. I think he's not going to be there to be hit, and I think he's going to be doing the hitting for the most part. I think he's going to score more, move more, and ultimately win in a good fashion. I'm not gonna say he's gonna wash him because you never know. Like I said, De Los Santos has a lot to prove, and he's a good fighter, man.
Yes.
He's a really good fighter. I think Keyshawn Davis might be a level above him, in my opinion.
You know what? And I think you're right. And it's like he's up and coming. Well, I can't say Keyshawn Davis is up and coming because he's there now or whatever. He was up and coming, but he's still excelling, which makes him a truly dangerous opponent for De Los Santos or whatever. Because, like you said, I do believe De Los Santos is going to come in there with something to prove. I do believe he's going to be aggressive to start off, but I feel like He's going to play right into Keyshawn Davis' hands or whatever. He's going to be pacing him, but soon when he comes in, like Keyshawn's fighting style is very versatile in my eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
He could get in the phone booth with you or whatever, and he could jab you. He's smart, like you say. He comes from that camp with Bo Mac and all them boys, and watching Bud, Shakur and stuff. He's not like a careless fighter. You know what I mean? He's a hungry fighter who's very skilled, which makes him even more dangerous. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Get your popcorn ready. So it's gonna be a show.
Do you think so? De Los Santos has a few more fights than Keyshawn. He got in truth, he got a few bigger names. Jose Venezuela, who he beat.
Yes, he did beat Venezuela.
He beat Venezuela. He lost to Shakur, but I mean, that's a problem for anybody. Do you think with his current resume, again, it ain't like it's super stacked. He only got 18 fights, right?
Yeah.
But he fought some bigger fights, some more, I would say, on paper, more difficult fights. Do you think that experience is going to play a factor into his possible victory over Keyshawn?
I think I would have to say no coming in with this. Like I think is obviously with him having those fights with those bigger names is going to, like I said, for him he's going to be skilled enough where to put on a fight. But like I said, I think that ring rust is what's going to make the difference. And then at the same time too, Keyshawn Davis fought some good names recently. Like you gotta think his last few fights has been kind of overachieving or whatever. All right, he fought Baranchuk.
Yeah. He fought Dennis Baranchuk.
Right. Now you gotta think when he fought Gustavo Lemos, he was almost 15 pounds of weight.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
You know what I'm saying? And he put a beating on him. You know what I'm saying? And the experience Lemos had over Keyshawn Davis was extreme. You know what I mean? He dominated. He walked right through him. And then on top of that, like you said, Pedraza on that. I think, like I would say, like as far as experience goes and names, like they're somewhat even, but now it's going to be that rawness. Like who got it? Do you still got it? I think that's what it's going to boil down to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. A layoff is always difficult for anybody, man. And he's been off since 2023. So there's bound to be some ring rust. I'm sure they're doing everything they can in the gym to try to mitigate that as much as they can. Probably having them even spar more than usual. I hope not though, because then you can sustain injuries or you won't fight your best in a fight anyway. So I hope they're taking a smarter approach. But that ring rust is going to be there, man. That's a while. That's a while to sit out, not fight under the lights. I don't care how much you sparring. Y'all not really trying to beat the person to sleep, and then the fight you are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that he used the first few rounds to get it out. You know what I mean? Let his hands go a little bit. Move around a little bit and try to shake some of that rust so he can continue on in the fight and be the fighter that he is. But again, just to reiterate my stance, I got Keyshawn winning either. Oh man, I got Keyshawn stoppage in the 8th round, or he's gonna win by unanimous decision. That's what I got.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Let me ask you this.
I was gonna say, tell us again what yours was. Go ahead. Yeah.
What is that?
Instead, I was going to ask you to just restate your prediction again.
Oh, I agree with you. You had exactly what I had. I had a late round stoppage, thinking in the 8th round, or it'd be a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Question I gotta ask you: if he stops him,
Mm-hmm.
how do you compare
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn Davis to Shakur?
Well, that's kind of. I knew you was gonna go there. It's kind of. I guess it's an inevitability at this point, because they might be on a crash course. Maybe. I think that. Well, first and foremost, I am not one of those people that necessarily believe that Keyshawn is unable to, you know, perform well against Shakur. There's a lot of Shakur fans out there that, for some reason, think he's this, this invincible entity that can't be hurt or can't be beat, or his defense is too good, his defense is that. When on the flip side, his last few outings have been trash in my opinion. Not trash that he didn't have good defense and stuff, but it's a fight. You need offense, you need defense, and I feel like he's getting by on the defense a lot. Um, I think that Keyshawn is will be active enough to bring out probably the best or a better side of Shakur.
Mhm.
But I'm not 100% sure that Keyshawn, not that he's ready, but that he should take the fight now. I think he should maybe get a few more names
Yeah,
under his belt. You know what I'm saying? Step up fights,
I agree with
as Bomac likes to put it. They do strategically do step up fights. I think he should get a couple more step up fights and then take on that fight.
you. Mhm.
But if they made that fight, I wouldn't be surprised. Two, I surely wouldn't be mad at it.
No,
I think Keyshawn will hold his own. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm a bigger Keyshawn fan than I am a Shakur. I'm just not. I'm not one of them dudes, man. And I don't mean to ramble, but
no, yeah.
I'm one of those guys. When it comes to fighters, right? We can see the attributes. We can see how good they are. We can see that they got great defense and stuff. But here's the thing. You're not really that guy to me until you beat those guys.
Mhm.
Um, I was kind of critical of Bud
Yeah, I
for a
know.
while,
Yo, say no
even
more
though
fans.
his talent is completely obvious. But when he beat Arrow the way he beat Arrow and a couple other opponents, but it was really that's what really got over the hump for me. I was like, yo, he really the one. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, so I'm of that school of thought. Like, I don't care how good you look against lower opposition. I need to see how good you look against equal or better opposition for me to crown you. And I'm not crowning Shakur right now because when we look at a lot of his opponents, I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Same thing. I did the same thing with Tank,
right.
and
You
and,
did.
and I do that same thing with every guy, right? Every person that I come by, same thing with Boots. I'm like, yo, Boots looks amazing
Hmm.
against these no name nobody. 30 something people that you barely even heard of for the
Right.
most part. You know what I'm saying? And then he went in with Stanionis and took everything away from Stanionis. And
Hmm.
I said, okay, you are who you say you are. When you when the competition matches or is better than where you are, and that's how
Right.
I gauge it, man. So that's how I feel. I think Keyshawn will be just fine.
Oh, 100%. For sure.
Hope that answered your question.
But I
Hope that
kind of
answered your
figured,
question.
saying where he's going to go just
Yeah, man.
because I know how you look at fighters, you know, and it was just one of
Yeah,
those things like,
yeah,
how do you think it'll fare out? But that's a fight definitely I would love to see. But like you said, too, I think Keyshawn should definitely take a few more fights before he gets there, and
yeah.
like you mentioned a name earlier
Mhm.
or whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Jose Venezuela. to see how that would go.
That would be great. That would be a great
And I think that
fight.
would be his
That
great
would be a
test
great fight.
before he, transcends into those fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be a great test. Who he got coming up next? Let me see if he has anybody coming up real quick. I'm talking about Jose Venezuela.
Yeah.
If we got anybody coming up next. So I'm a big fan of El Rayo, bro. Like I really am. Um, I thought his work against Pitbull was beautiful. Beautiful plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that he lost to he had a bad loss against Gary Russell Jr. I'm sorry, Gary Antoine, and Gary Antoine was just on one. You know what I mean?
Yo,
He was just on one.
yeah, he was.
Um, but also the other kind of thing when we're looking at who should fight who or whatever, we have to remember 2022 De Los Santos beat El Rayo.
You're right.
Um, and took the belt. So it's always interesting to see how Keyshawn may do against Rayo of today. I think Rayo of today is probably a better fighter than he was back in 2022. Especially
I think
seeing what he
honestly
did with
that De Los
on a
Santos
rematch
fight
with
is.
Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that
Go
De
ahead. I'm
Los
sorry.
Santos
Let me
fight
cut you
is
off.
what kind of made El Rayo, saying level up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would say that fight, and then I also say his rematch with Chris Colbert
Mm.
was one of them. That was one of them crazy ones.
Yeah, I forgot all about that one.
When he when he won. Yeah, that was in '03. I think I think he knocked him out as a matter of fact.
Mm.
Um, and then of course his Isaac Cruz performance,
Yeah,
beautiful.
for sure.
I would love to see that fight. I want them to put that together. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen.
For sure. For sure.
Great fight for both of them.
Yeah.
Great fight for both of them. Yeah, man. That's all. That's really all I got, man. Anything else you got?
Nah, we got Caleb Plant coming up at the 31st end of this month.
Yes, sir.
Carlo will be
Yes,
making
sir.
his return back to the ring with that fight.
Caleb Plant, and we got Charlo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Caleb Plant,
obviously the
Charlo.
following week would be the
Yeah.
Keyshawn Davis fight. So yeah, boxing it's been kind of slow or whatever since Cinco de Mayo, but it's about to ramp back up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's about to ramp back up. July, we got stuff in July. If I'm not mistaken, I think Deontay Wilder's back in July. If I'm not mistaken, you got things jumping off. AJ about to sign a 3-fight deal and stuff. Is whether you like these or not, it stuff is starting to ramp up. And come across. I do want to say, I would like everybody to please like, subscribe, share the show. Hit the thumbs up if you're digging the content. Hit the thumbs down if you're not. And I appreciate the people that do comment, man. I love to interact with the people. And we do still have merch, y'all. We're gonna ramp up on our merch. Joe, give them the site, bro.
Go to rockjones.bigcartel.com and also check us out on TikTok and Pose My Will Podcast on TikTok. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We everywhere. So yeah, give us a buzz. And we're also on Rumble as well too, y'all. So, check us out. And that website again
We are on
is
Rumble. Yeah.
rockjones.bigcartel.com and get you a shirt.
Get you a shirt, man. Summertime, you know what I'm saying? Pick up a hat, shirt, man, and show some support. Um, Coming up, we are trying to line up some interviews. Y'all know that's really what we love to do on our show, is really interview fighters, coaches, etc. So we're in the midst of trying to secure a couple of interviews. So hopefully, come next episode, I have something to announce.
What's up?
Besides that. Yeah. Besides that, man, Impose My Will podcast. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.